Cause we're late.
Oh God.
Oh
my God, we're like
We're
6
going
minutes
live?
late.
I know.
It's live right now.
The comments.
Oh, okay.
Gonna be
Very
like,
nice.
Yeah.
yo, they're
That's
late. They're late.
6 minutes. That is actually really late for us. I mean, that's late for
It
me,
is.
especially.
I'm sorry. What else are you gonna do on a Monday night, though?
I know, right?
What else do we have to do besides sleep?
Yeah. Recuperate from the trash of the first day of the week. Ugh.
It was the first day of the week, though. My God,
That it was.
Jesus, it was a Monday.
it was hectic. It wasn't bad. It was just, it's like as soon as I sat down to work on something, someone else would come up with something else that I had to like divert my attention to. And
Of course.
all the short list of things I had planned to get done for the day, as far as artwork and design stuff, didn't happen. So
That's all right. We're here.
Everyone wants their stuff and they want it yesterday.
Yeah. I bought it 18 seconds ago. What do you mean it hasn't shipped and there's no tracking?
Yeah. I gave you 4 different artworks to get done. How come? Where are they?
My all-time favorite now, well, my new all-time favorite is, hey, it's been 90 days. When is my product going to ship? Sir, you haven't paid for it yet. Oh, okay. Well, I can't afford it, so don't worry about it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a new one. Yeah.
I had that. I get a variation of that, and it's basically like, when's our order going to be done? When's our order going to be done? You send them the invoice. It shows that they opened the invoice and looked at it, and then it's crickets.
Ghost town.
Ghost.
Yes.
Nice.
Literally, these people like yelled at my employees, like, gave them attitude, all this stuff. Of course, when they talked to me, they were perfectly pleasant.
That's how it always is.
But then it's like, okay, your stuff's done that you've been hounding us about every other day for the last 2 weeks. Like, come get it. Pay for it.
And I have to chase people these days to give them money. Like, they've mailed me the product. I haven't. I'm like, hey, man, how do you want me to pay you?
Right.
I'll send you the email link. And like a week goes by. Never got the email link. I'm like, hey, man, I'd really like to square this up. How do you want me to pay you? Oh, yeah, I'll send it to you. Never sends it. Like, I got to chase
My
them.
bookkeeper
to pay
says
them.
I have to pay you this today.
Exactly. I
You were
don't
not
owe
going
anybody
to
anything.
pay me. Right. Yeah,
That's
that's
like-
weird.
It's a bad policy to owe anybody anything. Debt makes you do things that you do not want to do.
For sure. Yeah.
But it's Monday. We're here. It's episode 235 of Snakes and Stogies, which is brought to you by blackboxcages.com. Go shop around. Racks, cages. You hate one, you like the other. You like the other, you hate the other. Doesn't matter. Grab them all. They've got something that fits the bill for just about anything you could need, barring like room size enclosures that you would keep retics or king cobras in.
Yeah.
Other than that, they can accommodate pretty much anything. Really, really good build quality. Engineering and design is tip top.
Yes.
Awesome quality overall. Fast shipping, quick lead times. Use the code THN25 at checkout and save a little bit. Save even more with the pickup option when you're at checkout. If you're near North Georgia, near like the Atlanta area, north of Atlanta, you can just go grab it yourself. You don't have to have the hassle of the extra parties for shipping and freight and whatnot involved. You can just go get it yourself, make a trip out of it, make a weekend out of it.
An adventure.
See the warehouse, the setup, meet the gang, make a thing of it.
They will build it, and Keller will come.
They will. And me and Jake will too. We make that pilgrimage. It's nice.
I was making a sexual innuendo, but I'm glad you rolled with it.
Oh. Well,
on that note,
Keller's going to do whatever Keller's going to do.
Yep. Yes, he is. The King Baboon himself.
Check them out and then hop on over to fullvisaapparel.com. Just released some new stuff over the weekend. New Bolin shirt, new Felsuma shirt, new Whip Spider shirt. I've got a couple others to put up still. I had an extremely lazy weekend, and I feel like I didn't do jack shit the entire time, and I felt guilty about it because it's rare that I have a weekend where I'm not like got a laundry list of stuff to get knocked out.
Sometimes you just need a
So-
veg day, you know?
I don't know, dude. I don't know what it was. Like Saturday, I slept like half the day for some reason. Like I'd wake up, hang out for like an hour or two, and then I'd go back to sleep. And then I wake up, and I go back to sleep. And it's weird. It's not like me. I don't know.
Sometimes
Hey, it was that factory reset calling.
yeah, that's
I
it,
guess
man.
so. Yeah, and that's
Good for the
what
soul.
my wife said. She's like, you need a lazy weekend every now and then. And I'm like, stuff doesn't go away just because you don't do it. But you know,
It
Added
hurts
use-
the logic center, but we need it every now and then.
yeah.
Yeah.
So check that out. There's a spring sale going on now until May 9th. It is 15% off automatically at checkout. No discount code or anything needed. Go check out the new shirts. I'm in the process of updating the website. Like overall, the never-ending battle of trying to find a theme that doesn't drive me nuts is continuing. And I bought a new like layout last year and just haven't even touched it since. So I started working on that a little bit. So the website's going to get updated soon. Hopefully be a little bit easier to navigate, not as sort of jumbled, I guess, disheveled. And then what else? Looking at maybe vending some shows in September.
Ooh.
We'll see. I'm not going to vend Daytona this year.
Mm.
Don't
Why not?
think. Mostly just the prep and stuff, and I don't know. I want to attend this year. I don't really feel like vending, so.
Okay.
But I'm eyeballing the All American Expo in Charlotte in September.
All right.
So I've heard really good things about that. I think this is like the second year or so of them doing it, a couple times a year in multiple locations. So I think I'm going to take a crack at that. We'll see. Got to see how we're looking as we get further into the year as far as like inventory and money and stuff like that. So yeah, be on the lookout for any announcements there. And then Cold-Blooded Caffeine, the best coffee around, the Snakes and Stogies blend, which I have right here.
Right here.
Rwanda and Mexico, once again,
Interweave.
coming together in a bag.
That's a badass bag.
Yeah, it's good
Yeah,
coffee
I'm
too.
definitely gonna have to get myself a little bit of that.
You got to
Use the
get
code-
it, man.
Use the code SMOKE at checkout. Also gets you a little discount. We're becoming one of those shows that has like 20 discount codes for 20 different things. But
It's worth
they're
it.
there. You use them.
Yes, sir.
Our blend and many, many, many others to choose from. You won't be disappointed with any of them. Trey and McKendrick make awesome coffee blends. Even have some stuff if you need like pour overs and whatnot. Like they have the things for you to make the coffee. It's not just coffee.
Yeah. The accoutrement.
That's right. That's right. What are you smoking this evening?
Well, I thought I had a new cigar that I'd never smoked before on deck, and I realized that I smoked it the other day. So our guests this evening, we were speaking last night about cigars, and I had mentioned the Gurkha Beast. So I am smoking the Gurkha Beast,
Very nice.
and it is as good as I remember it. However, I don't like a straight cutter on particular caps because I go too far and I cut the whole cap off like an idiot.
Yeah.
So I have a circular straight cutter that's flat backed so that the cigar butts up against it, right? And I know Smitty's not the biggest Gurkha fan, and I know he has his own opinion, as most people do, but I could see why Smitty has his opinion because when I went to cut it, it frayed out the back.
Oh,
And then I'm like, what the
That
hell
just
is
means
this?
you got a dull cutter.
that's why I use
Oh, no. It has like, dare I say, a stem or something, or like a heavy vein in the back that like impeded it. So I had to cut it real low, like almost completely. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. See the cap's completely gone.
Yeah.
And but we're drawing nice. We're
I
drawing
don't
full.
know. My issue with Gurkha is mostly just the overall quality of a lot of their stuff. I just don't find it to be that. Word on the block is they buy out old lines that people are getting rid of and then slap a band on it and make it say it's their own. But
Interesting.
I don't know how valid that is. I just find that kind of like Rocky Patel, they've got a very huge portfolio and very few of their cigars that are actually like really solid.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather have a brand with like fewer lines, but they put way more effort into them, and so those few lines are really good, rather than a ton of lines that are all okay. You know?
Agreed.
I'll be honest. I think a lot of my attachment to them is mostly like my sentimental and yeah, it's mostly just sentimental value. It was one of the first cigars I tried, and it's always kind of had that attachment to it.
Yeah.
I've had better cigars, but like if I was gonna walk into a humidor and I'm looking around and I just want like a quick pick, I'm always gonna pick like the quick pick Ghost usually because it's something I know. But I do see there's definitely better cigars out there.
They're popular for a reason. I mean, it's it's the same thing. It's craft beer and Bud Light and that kind of thing. You know, it's there's always going to be, no one's ever going to beat Bud Light in terms of popularity and stuff, which is fine. I mean, like I said, there's a couple Gurkhas that I think are phenomenal, like that Black Label, like 18-year age.
Yeah. The Black Label Reserve.
That's a phenomenal cigar.
Yeah, that thing is awesome.
I bought like a 5-pack sampler on the cruise because that's what the little liquor store thing on the boat had, and I was like, okay, you know, why not? And it had one of those Marquesas in it, which is another like good cigar from Gurkha that I remember having years ago when it came out, and I was like, okay, this is solid, this is good, and I smoked it, and that's.
Do you think it was that old, or do you think it was another?
No,
okay.
It's a regular production for them.
Okay.
I forgot that it was of the other stuff that I've had of theirs, it was one of the standouts. So I was like, okay, if that was something that was carried locally, I'd be inclined to probably buy it on a fairly regular basis if we're talking, that $8 to $9 range. Everything else in it was like, okay, it was fine. But personally, Gurkha historically just hasn't done a whole lot for me. It just.
No, I'm with you, man. And I have smoked a lot of Gurkha because the owner of the company is affiliated with me through my work, and he's gifted me a handful of sticks here and there. He actually gave me a box of Nicaraguan specials that is still sealed, a whole box, and I have a feeling that they're probably dry because the cellophane on the outside of the box is kind of meh. So I'm going to try and bring those back to speed, but I haven't smoked them yet. But I'm excited because I've never actually had that cigar ever, and I have a whole box of them, so I'm really hoping that I like it. But yeah, man, we were talking about glass tubes last night, and one of my favorites is the Gurkha Reserve Red Label in the glass tube with a copper wax seal on the end. Yeah. It's a big boy. It's like a 60 Churchill, but fantastic smoke. In the glass tube with the wax seal, like Maker's Mark. Awesome.
They had one that was like bourbon infused. They had one that was rum infused and one that was, I think, cognac infused. And the rum one was actually really solid.
Interesting.
But I want to say it wasn't necessarily like one of the sort of the standard ones you get. This one, I think, was like a Gurkha Abuelo or something like that. But I don't know. I would smoke that again. It was really good. And it's, it's one of those things like if someone hands me a Gurkha and they're like, hey, do you want one? I'm not going to be like, fuck that. No, I'll smoke it. I'll enjoy it. It's still a cigar.
Free cigars are usually a good cigar in my experience.
Yeah, it's like pizza, man. It's like even bad pizza is good pizza.
Yeah.
It's got to be really bad for me to not eat it.
Well, I mean, you inherit the old cigar that's all dry and crusty from sitting in your grandfather's shop for
I'll make it work.
Years.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If
I tried.
Knowledge, drop it on him, Smitty. Tell him how to revive that cigar.
How do you revive a cigar that's that aged out?
A Boveda pack in a Tupperware.
Yep.
Okay.
Not a cedar lined humidor or anything fancy like that. A Tupperware.
Yep.
If you're not aging cigars, the best humidor in the world is a Tupperware.
The more you know.
People think it's got to be like some fancy, expensive, like Spanish cedar, 2-level, super sealed. Like it doesn't. If you're smoking them on a regular basis, like even like aging wise, the cedar humidor's nice to have, just because it does sort of have a better stasis overall. But like, if you're just smoking and you're not worried about aging, then a Tupperware will put them exactly where you need them, especially if you're using a Boveda pack in particular. It's all about making sure the air inside stays there, and that humidity isn't escaping. And Tupperwares are typically perfect for that. So
yeah, and that's just going back on Gurkha. That's Cellar Reserve. That's that black label, dude. Was it Limitada Solara or something? I don't remember, but hell of a stick if you can find it.
Yeah, Raj still has some on the shelf here.
Really?
Around. I don't know the last time you ordered them, so they've been sitting there a minute. But
well, then I'm gonna buy them because they're non-existent by me.
Really?
Yeah,
they're good.
Damn, it's a shame you don't work there anymore.
I mean, I'm still there like every day, pretty much.
Nice.
I was actually I worked like the weekend before last. I was helping Raj unpack all the stuff he just got at PCA, so he's getting pallets of cigars in.
Oh wow!
From this trade show. It's like the trade show in Vegas you go to, Phil. It's like the show for the industry, and that's when they get all the deals and stuff. So a lot of these shops just absolutely load up. Raj tries to load up for like the year. When he goes to PTA, he tries to buy it for like, so he doesn't have to order again until like 2026.
And that was the beauty with those shows. And like, I used to do the same thing, you spend 80 grand at this booth and 50 grand at this booth. And that was your allocation for the whole year. And now with the internet, man, it's tough. So I'm glad that he gets to do that, spend that money at that discount to keep it. That's
well, great. They give deals to brick and mortars that you can only get if you attend that show. It's not like you have an account and you can be like, oh, it's PCA weekend, let me just call this in. Like, no, you have to go there in person and actually like place the order.
That's the way it should be, man. In respect to the guys like him that go. So
yeah, I was gonna go this year with Trey, but the cruise happened the same weekend. So
yeah, priorities. Hey, does he have any black markets left? Alec Bradley's?
I know he found a random box of like Magic Toast sitting around, but I don't think he has any more of the black markets.
Okay.
Box of Ghost.
What's that?
I'll take that random box of Ghost.
He's got some of those floating around too. Yeah, it's just like with anything retail wise, dude. If stuff isn't like at eye level or neck to eye level, a lot of it just gets ignored. So like a lot of the Gurkha stuff, a lot of the Alec Bradley stuff was like lower on the shelf. And so it just didn't get like, unless you were searching for that specifically, it usually just didn't, it's out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. So.
Right. It doesn't rotate as frequently, just kind of based on where it's located in the shop.
Yeah.
Which is fine because the stuff that I really like I'll take it and put it on the bottom shelf because I'm like, I'm gonna probably be the only one smoking these anyways. Like, I don't have to worry about anybody buying them if they don't know they're there.
Just kind of hide them down there, that's your supply.
Exactly.
How often do you play a little bit of Russian roulette when you walk into the humidor and you're like, I don't know what the fuck that is, but I'm going to try it?
At this point for Smitty, I imagine it's not a lot.
That's why I asked him. I'm curious.
Yeah, it's like never unless it's something new that I haven't had before.
That's pretty impressive, at least for me. Like, that's impressive as hell because I still get overwhelmed when I walk into some humidor. I do.
Oh, yeah. It's very easy to do that. And I'll be honest, if not to speak ill of my co-host, but I feel like if Smitty didn't work in the industry as long as he did, he would not have had the opportunity. Would you say, Smitty?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's like it was one of those things where it's kind of like if you're a bartender and it's slow, you kind of start to drink a little bit.
Yeah, at least like mixing stuff and learning stuff and trying stuff.
If it's slow there, I'm just gonna smoke all day. Like I'm just gonna try stuff.
Yeah.
Especially new stuff.
Right.
So I think pretty much everything in that humidor I've had at least once, and a lot of stuff a lot of times depending on what it was. So
it's great. That's great.
I took it as a responsibility on my part to make sure that I knew the products so that our customers were well served.
Correct. Like a good sommelier.
So Raj's dad works sometimes and he doesn't know anything about cigars. God bless him. And so if I'm there hanging out and someone comes in and asks for recommendations, he's like, hey, will you help? Because he, his English is semi-decent. And I'm like, yeah. And I'll go in there and I'll tell people straight up, like, I don't recommend cigars that I don't think are worth the money. Like, I don't want you to not going to try and sell you the most expensive cigar in the humidor, because if you smoke it and you hate it, like, you're not going to come back.
Yeah.
You're not going to bother.
Right.
Like, I want you, like, I'm not going to recommend the $30 Padron. Like, I'm going to recommend the friggin' $8 Nika Rustica that I think is phenomenal. Like, I would take that Nika Rustica that's, again, $7.50, $8 over that $30 Padron, you know, 9 times out of 10. It's just
Land on an affordable, safe bet, and they're happy with it, and they come back.
What is the
cigars are expensive, and I don't want people to waste their money on something that I don't think is worth the money.
I always butcher this name. That one Connecticut with the trees on it that I love so much. It's like a lighter cream colored band. It has like 3 pine trees on it. It's a Connecticut broadleaf. Come on.
Not that Charter Oak.
Charter Oak. That's it. I love those things.
That's a great cigar.
That's a great cigar. It was
Phenomenal.
like $8. Yeah.
Not even. Down here,
Yeah.
I think we have them for like $7.
Yeah, that's Charter Oak. I never remember that name, but the band and the stick itself is just such an attractive gateway cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Charter Oak. Yeah.
It's get a lot of people that come in and they see an expense, like a lot like with wine and bourbons and stuff too. Like, they see something that's exclusive. They only made so many of them. It's, you know, $20 a piece. Like, it must be good if it's rare and expensive. And it's like, I've had so many like expensive cigars that I would not buy again, just because I've had cigars that are a third the price that were way better. I don't.
You think it's like you for the brand type deal? Like with me personally, like there's I'm not gonna name names, you know, like I'm just not gonna do that. But there's some brands out there. You go and you buy it, and you're basically paying mostly. You can turn around and you can get the generic version, basically the same shit type.
Cohiba. Yep.
Yeah. I was when I was listening to you, because I've listened to your show quite a bit. I've picked up a good bit of cigar knowledge from the two of you guys, and I was kind of sad when I started to realize, like, maybe getting hyped up to go get a Cuban's not really worth it. I mean, I've only ever had one, and it was an ugly thing with no band on it at all. Like I was telling Phil, right? One of the best smokes I ever had in my life. But like each time I've gone to Mexico, like I always try to, like, you know, it's most likely fake, but I'll try it, and it tastes like an ashtray. Like it tastes like if the thing was rolled out of an ashtray. But they swear up in Cuban, and even though I know it's not.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like, if you're a regular cigar smoker and you enjoy them and you actually try different stuff, you know, you don't smoke the same thing every day all day, like, you will notice that there's a difference with real Cubans. Like, if you're someone that only smokes 2 or 3 times a year, you're probably not going to notice. But if it's something where you smoke cigars regularly, like it's something you enjoy, it's a hobby, you know, dare I say, then you'll likely pick up on the fact that it is something different and unique. And the problem is Cohiba, they have their Dominican factories and then they have their Cuban factories, and people think that they're coming from the same place from Cuba, and they're not. Like, their Dominican cigars are honestly just not great, and you're paying for the name with those. That's all it is. Because I'd still have people come in and you know, oh, do you have any Cohibas? And I'm like, yeah, like here's 3 other cigars I could show you that are half the price and light years better, but people want Cohiba because they want the name. You know, it's
yeah,
which is fine. Whatever, you know, if that's your thing, go for it.
Side note, I don't know if this is public knowledge or not, or if I'm going to get in trouble, but my boy Marcus, he's a huge bourbon, scotch, and whiskey guy, and he's part of the Miami Bourbon Society, and they just did a collab with Espinosa.
Oh, nice.
And that's going to be the band. It's going to be a Nicaraguan from some.
That's awesome.
Isn't that look cool? Miami Bourbon Society.
That's really nice.
So the
Very
only way,
well made.
the only way to get the sticks is to be in the club and buy 1 bottle. But I guess they have more sticks than probably people are buying bottles. So he's going to try and snag me some of the sticks.
Espinosa makes really good stuff too.
And that's what I told him. I was excited about that, man. I was more excited about that than the bourbon.
Yeah, Espinosa makes good stuff. They do have a pretty large portfolio as well, but pretty much everything I've had from them, for the most part, like, I wish we carried a good bit of their stuff at the shop here. And I tried to get Raj to do it, and I was like, dude, you need to get Espinosa. Like, I had a lot of people asking for him, and that's usually a pretty good indicator of like, if people here in Beaufort, which is a small town, are asking for Espinosa stuff, like, it's probably worth looking into.
Right. Agreed.
Well, Smitty, can I pick your brain on something real quick?
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to talk to Phil about it, but so when you're pairing your cigars with a drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is like a beginner's way of going about it? Usually like a brand to a certain type of liquor, or is it like, let's say that if it's a dark wrap, like a real dark cigar, what would you pair that with type deal? Does it depend on how dark the tobacco is? Is it the flavor of the tobacco that you would pair with the drink?
So yeah, it depends on what we're talking. Like, are we talking bourbon? Are we talking scotch? Are we talking tequila?
So I'll give you a good example. I was talking with Phil last night. There's this local cigar shop, and they have one of the house cigars. It's kind of like a mesquite flavor with a bit of like smoked chipotle in the background.
Okay,
that's the general like flavor of the cigar.
Yeah.
I will pair that with any tequila. Like, I don't care what it is. I will, because they just go well together. Goes good, and that's my preference. But
that's all that matters.
Yeah,
if it's good to you, like perfect. That's it. You know,
Yeah.
like typically I would, if people were asking me like, what bourbon should I have with this? I was always told from reps and stuff, and it seems to be so far from in my experience, it seems pretty tried and true. You want to match the color of whatever you're drinking with the color of the cigar.
Here.
So if you're gonna have like
doing that.
a really light McClellan Scotch, like I'm not gonna go and grab really any of the LFDs or anything like that, because you don't want one to overpower the other, right? You want them to kind of like be working in tandem in a bit. So typically, if I was going to do something like the Kraken, like some sort of mixer or cocktail with the Kraken, like then I'd probably go with something like a Maduro, maybe not something that's on the spicier side because it's a spiced rum, but maybe something a little on the smoother side, like Liga No. 9 or would likely be pretty good with that.
Yeah.
And then, again, if it's a lighter Scotch or something, then maybe something more mild to medium. Connecticut's are kind of tough in particular just because they are typically, depending on which one, like there's typically a good bit more pepper in Connecticut's and things, and so it can be kind of tough, I think, on some of those to clash. Tequila's also been kind of a tough one. That's not an easy one to pair with. I think the hardest one of all of them is beer and wine, more so wine, to find a good pairing there, because I think just the acidity of wine in general is really hard to hard to work with.
Yeah. I will say though, I have had, just going back to LFD, I have had an Andalusian Bull with some Kraken spiced rum. And
I can see that working. It's just the strength of that LFD with that.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a purely a libation. Like, you don't do that unless you've already had dinner and like you're yeah. So, but go on. Sorry, I mean to cut in.
That was the reason I asked. Cause, I asked this old guy one time. It was the same old guy that gave me that Cuban. It was just so. I asked him the same question. He said, "Son, if you ever put a beer down next to a cigar, you're doing it wrong." And that was it. That was the only answer I got. So I needed more context.
Yeah, and beer's a tough one too. Like, especially, I can't think off the top. Oh, that's not true. There's maybe like 2 or 3 cigars off the top of my head that I can think of that would work with maybe an IPA, but not like any of the crazy like triple IPAs and things like that are just going to completely hijack your palate and strong arm anything else that you're pairing with it. But things like your stouts, Sierra Nevada Narwhal,
Guinness.
Guinness.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know if you guys have it by you. Oh my God, now I can't. Modelo Negro Negro with a medium bold cigar of your choosing is fairly safe in my book.
That doesn't be a bad pairing right there.
Yeah, no doubt. That does sound pretty good.
Yeah,
It's funny. I actually got a 12-pack of those in my fridge
nice.
downstairs.
I wouldn't do the Especial. I feel like the Especial is probably too normal beery, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
But like Modelo
absolutely.
Negro, that'll work.
Mhm.
I've always any kind of ginger beer mixed drink. So like any of your mules of sorts, like Ashton VSG with a Moscow Mule. That's the vodka one, right? Vodka and ginger beer.
Yeah.
I don't know. We make them with tequila here. So.
Okay, yeah, but like vodka ginger beer with Ashton VSG. I think that's a pretty good pairing. I would run that.
Nice.
Yeah, and ESG especially with that.
Oh yeah, ESG. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does sound nice.
Oh, John Calloway makes some dark and stormies though that I think about all the time. God, those are good.
Nice.
But I love ginger beer and pretty much anything.
So I used like my go-to was Jameson and ginger ale, and then be a Gurkha Ghost or a 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, if a pairing like works,
yeah,
everyone's palate's different. So it's like if you find a pairing that you like, no one can argue that. Like it's
I got a curveball. Herrera Esteli Miami, the blue and black label with Hendrix and ginger beer.
Oh,
I did that.
Gin would be another one that I would be hard.
And like it's got to be Hendrix. Honestly, if you're a baller, you go with Monkey 47. Monkey 47 straight up with a Herrera Esteli Miami. That's in a Toro, box press, whatever, black and blue label like that right there. Oof, but it's an expensive night.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to splurge for it,
Oh, for sure.
Worth the experiences.
For sure.
I'm still diehard. Like the best thing to pair with cigars is black coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bar none. Alcohol's great and all, but like to me, the best. Anytime I've paired a cigar with black coffee, doesn't seem to matter what cigar it was. Coffee mattered a little bit because if it's like Nescafe stuff, it's probably gonna be not that great.
Yeah.
But for like cold-blooded caffeine stuff, anything just black coffee is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's what I heard from a bunch of the guys out at the ranch, actually, is just that same thing. They're like, in the evening, you're either sticking with liquors with your cigar. They're not going to have a beer and a cigar, like Tristan was saying. And then in the mornings, they're like, cigar, black coffee, get to it.
That was my army, dude. I would crawl out of the barracks. Just crawl out of my fucking cave, just shit faced, sometimes still. I'd look up at the sun and hiss like Smeagol.
Nice.
But black coffee and then just one of my cigars from the night before. I'd just sit on the lawn. I wouldn't even bring my chair out. I'd sit on the lawn of the barracks in Fort Polk, Louisiana, where dreams go to die, and just fuck, dude, I'm just cool. Fuck, like that was my life.
Yeah.
It's a palate cleanser. So like black coffee, that's the reason it pairs so well with it, is because it cleanses your palate, and then you're getting more the clarity on the flavor of the cigars coming out more as a result of that.
Oh, for sure. What I did recently was I had a Baca with Greek coffee. So anybody who doesn't know, Greek coffee is very similar to Turkish coffee. It's boil over, if you will, in a small copper carafe, whatever you want to call it.
Sandbox.
Yeah. And I don't have a sandbox, but yeah, I do it on the fucking stove. But yeah, man, Greek coffee with a Baca, that was absolutely awesome.
Isn't it pretty strong?
Yeah, it's like Cuban coffee.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta have.
Yeah. Which is why like the Roma Baca like it just pairs well.
I got a story about Cuban coffee.
Go ahead. Go for it.
So me and some of my friends, we took out our clueless buddy. There's at least one in every group. Like a few French fries short of a Happy Meal.
Sure.
Screws loose, but you still love him anyways. That's why you keep him around, right?
Yeah.
Well, we decided to take him out so we could try something new. There was this Cuban restaurant not too far from where we're at. We go there and we all order Cuban coffees, and he gets his and he's like, what the fuck is this? Like, Like fucking just, what is this? Like, like he keeps telling the waiter, can I get a large? And we're all just laughing. Like, should we tell him? We're like, no, don't tell. Well, someone ends up telling him. He's like, no way. No, he doesn't believe us. Well, the waiter actually brings him out a whole cup. Like he paid.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't understand why. Like he just had paid $25 for this cup of coffee. Paid for it. Dude, downs the thing, right? Like we had. Long story short, we had to take him to Walmart to get him a new pair of pants, bro. Like, fucking, it was.
That's rough.
Cuban coffee, man. Don't fuck with it.
Man, that much caffeine straight to your gut in one roll, like you got the pissy shitties right away.
Oh, he was a heavy dipper too, and he would gut it.
Oh,
Jesus.
That much worse.
jeez.
It would have made it that much worse.
It's like a few stops short of like swallowing the balloon of heroin and it rupturing.
I don't know about that.
Right? No,
I mean,
man. Seriously,
I don't know about
I
that,
can't-
man. I drink a lot of Cuban coffee. I don't think it's nearly the same, but I see where your buddy got a little messed up if it's not the norm.
No, he's not even a regular coffee drinker. Like I was just amazed at why he wanted a huge cup of coffee because it didn't make any sense to me at all. Hey, it was made for a story, and it was funny in the moment. And until you ended up having to be in the same car with the dude, but yeah, you know.
Well, you got somebody that wants like a full size soda, and then they transition to coffee, and they're not used to having like just a regular cup of coffee, and they were like, "I want the big one," and then they down the whole coffee, and they're like all jittery or freaking out, or
Yeah. Well, I feel bad. We didn't really do an introduction of our guest this evening. I feel like we just ran into it, but
we're here for
tonight we're joined by Carrot and Tristan from the Hobby Hangar podcast.
Carrot. He used carrot.
Yes, thank you for having us
the
on.
Carrot. Yeah,
the Carrot. That's me.
That's it.
The one and only.
Hope it sticks. Goes worldwide.
That's it.
The one and only.
So so these guys have a relatively new podcast coming out. It's out now. More great episodes to come. Well, you guys got 5 episodes out now?
4 right?
Currently
Four.
5 is airing like tonight. It'll be up tomorrow morning if people
Sweet.
are listening to it.
That'll be
And then we've got 9 recorded, so there's 4 in the pipeline.
Nice. Excellent. That's the way to do it. So Carrot and Tristan, the show The Hobby Hangar, obviously it's reptile centric, but obviously we have other hobbies, whether it be hang gliding or mountain climbing or cigars, Cuban coffee, different ways to roast bean juice. And they're gonna showcase herpers and their hobbies on their podcast. And I think it's a fantastic idea. I had the esteemed pleasure of being a guest on their show last night that will air in the near future, hopefully. And we figured, you know what, why not have them on tonight on a live show and try and promote their show. So welcome to the show, boys.
We appreciate it a lot. Seriously, it was really a great time having you on last night for one, and an extreme pleasure and privilege to be on the show today.
It's been a great, guys. Like the people we've had the opportunity to talk to, it's been such a blessing. Like we had Nipper on the show, dude. That guy is great. He's hilarious. He's hilarious. We had him on the show talking about field herping, and yeah, he did great. We even gave him a little bit of shit for liking burritos, but
good. Excellent.
Our hobby hanger podcast. There we go. Our hobby hanger podcast. I can speak English now. Is mostly geared towards like mental health, and Carrot can speak to this a lot better than me. So in a second, I'll let him go off on that one. But we like to put 2 and 2 together, i.e., mental health and hobbies. You get a hobby and you find you love it. It truly makes you smile. It makes you smile when you walk through the door after a long day at work, dude. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're a car guy, if you're like a history enthusiast, if you were a gourmet chef at home, if you're a gardener, if you like knitting, even like as long as you're not the guy that walks through Whole Foods, farts in the cheese aisle, and then laughs when all the snooty people start talking about how great the cheese smells, you have a stage to stand on in our show. That's what we're here for.
Hey,
But,
you can be one of those guys that likes driving around those little mini cars in the parades.
The
You know,
Shriners.
you can like
Yeah.
ride in horseback. There's plenty of different things that we're looking forward to having on the show. So
Excellent.
really centric to the show, right, is of course the hobbies and the community behind each of those hobbies. So like you guys' show here talking about cigars and all kinds of different things. We're going to have, whether you're talking about classic cars, restoration to drone flying, whatever the hobby is, centric to that really is what do you get out of it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And aside from just working the 9 to 5 and the chaos that is like the rat race, what
indeed.
do you get and that is like, you know, is satisfying to you for your life, right? And that's what any hobby breakdown kind of comes to, right? Is
Yeah.
you can't tell me that my hobby is invalid if it is giving me satisfaction to my life and not being detrimental to other individuals, right? So it's encouraging those healthy hobbies and bringing the community together, because anywhere that there's an interest like that, what we've found is there's plenty of other people there, and so you don't have to go through that experience by yourself.
Yep.
Right? I
Yeah, man.
don't know how to ride horses at all, and I reached out to some of the guys that I know that have a bunch of their horses at this boarding ranch, and they brought me out a couple of weeks ago to go ride horses and just showed me what's up. You know, when I'd go fishing, I used to fish a lot by myself, you know, in the make a long story short, I'm a full custody parent at very young. Me and my son will go fishing, just get out into nature and everything. And eventually I decided in my head, hey, there's some other person fishing by themselves, and there's no reason for us to fish by ourselves separately, you know? So, like, I'll go and say hello, you know what I mean? And there's no reason not to. You already have something in common. You can
Right.
see it right away.
Yeah.
Whether it's fishing or, you know, somebody has got a car that you really admire, go say that to them. They're going to really appreciate that, you know?
It's like us herpers at reptile shows or even at your local reptile store. You walk in, you're standing in line, and you see somebody with a bag of crickets waiting to check out. Oh, hey, what are you feeding? You know, and you just pick up a conversation like that. I mean, it for me for example, the reptile hobby has done so much for me, and it's not only a hobby; it's a true discipline. It's brought, you know, so much good things to my life. I couldn't count it, and it's put me in contact with so many great people, like you two, for example. This whole thing really started when I reached out to Jason and Anthony from Gecko Exchange podcast.
Yeah.
And I started talking to those guys, and they gave me the opportunity to talk on their holiday special. I got to talk a little bit about my monitor Bubba, and then I got to talk about my orange throat pygmy skinks. Good Lord, English today. But I got to talk about my little orange throats, and then I met Matt through that podcast that day. So Matt and I got to talking one day, and I started talking to him about my little orange throat pygmy skinks, and he's like, "Hey, you need to come on to my show and talk about them." So I did, and you know, one thing led to another. I really enjoyed doing the show with Matt. The show came out really great, and it gave me the confidence to just hit up Carrot one day and say, "Hey, Carrot, why don't you and I start a podcast?" And now here we are.
Yeah, man.
It was the call I was waiting for too, because you don't understand how long I've tried to convince Tristan to go down this rabbit hole in some form or another with me. And it took us a little while to kind of decide on what it was that we wanted to do. And it's like, well, each of us are very passionate about multiple different subjects, right? But then the core of it was like, hey, a lot of our other projects or ideas or things that we might be passionate about, we haven't hit the level that we wanted to because of mental health issues and things that we're going through in our own life, right? Like, I'm not going to say that we're have mental health issues in this like super way down kind of way, right? But everybody has stuff that they're going through, right? And so especially young adults, right? I mean, I'm only 25 still, and so you can imagine, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I'm just still figuring out adulting and everything. And the root for me was like, a lot of us are not achieving the things that we want in our personal life because we're not communicating and like being open with that community, as a child, I used to feel like, well, a man is supposed to just handle his own problems and never really talks about it. Like he just stays focused in his zone, like, and then as I'm growing up, I realized like that's how a boy views a man. But like now I'm realizing like when I see other men performing the way that they should and that I look up to, right? They're humble, they're open, they're willing to discuss things and have dialogue with me that isn't like, just like, oh no, I have to deal with this, right? Like they're willing to break down and be emotional and show that they've gone through those struggles and then give you advice on why it's relevant to your own situation, and so I think it's really important that men come to that realization that we need each other. We need to bounce that kind of information off each other. And man, it is really hard to convince another dude that you got to get something off your chest, right? So don't try and convince your buddy that he needs to get something off of his chest. Invite him out fishing. Or if you know that he likes backpacking and nobody ever goes backpacking with the guy too much, be like, hey man, like I don't go, but do you have stuff? Like, let's go, right? Or whatever it is. Find an excuse to do something together and then just let this stuff flow. And I feel that that's 10 times more valuable than therapy. That's just my 2 cents.
A good of that, like, kind of happened just the other night for me. I've made friends with one of my neighbors recently, and he and I were just sitting there talking, and I could tell there were things bothering him, and I was like, hey man, you want to go do something fun? It's dark out and it's scorpion season in Arizona. Let's go blacklight. Like let's go blacklight hunting, dude. Let's go. Let's shine around a blacklight.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
The smile on that man's face every time we found one just got bigger and bigger. And by the time we were walking back to my place and it was all said and done, the man couldn't be happier, and all of his worries went away. He's like, dude, I need to go buy a blacklight now. Like, I need to take my kids to do this. This is so much fun, bro. Like, this is great. I'm like, yeah, you forgot all about what you were bummed about, didn't you, bud? The power.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And doing it with your brother. Doing it with your bro. It's even better.
Yeah. And sometimes I think it's just a matter of like, even if it's just a simple conversation, having that pull you out of your own head.
Exactly.
Because
100%.
That's something for me is like, I'll be in a shit mood at work or something, or, for whatever reason. And it's because I'm not really talking to anybody, but then a customer will walk in like a regular and, we'll start joking back and forth or something. And then all of a sudden, like it's everything's not so bad at that point. I don't know. It's weird. It's almost like you have to sort of break yourself out of sort of this weird little glass bubble.
It's a Dell,
that's
man.
true. Whenever you're inside your own head too much and you don't have any of that other outside information, right? You can very quickly like become ungrounded. As soon as you have a conversation with another person, right? Like it kind of forces your brain to reground. But when you're just all in your head from the time that 3 hours before bed until 4 hours after I woke up and I haven't talked to anybody, no wonder I'm like kind of all in a funk this morning.
Yeah. And
Valentine,
I'm pretty sure, Tristan, you're in Mesa, right?
Well, North Phoenix. I'm damn near in Anthem. Actually.
Okay. So yeah, our good buddy Brandon Valentine, he's a Phoenix Herper, so I'm sure he'll ping you and you guys will hit it off. So.
I live in the same city as Jason. Well, I mean, he's over in Tempe Mesa area, but Jason and I have been talking. We're good buddies now, and he and I have still yet to go and hang out and go herp. So we all need to set something up for sure.
Yeah.
Be good.
Meanwhile, up here in the Great White North, things are just starting to thaw out.
Oh yeah. And Tristan Brandon says he's in Chandler.
Oh, I grew up in Chandler.
There you go.
Right in
So
Arizona.
yeah,
All stomping grounds.
that's it. So Carrot, have you found some scaly critters up your neck of the woods or no?
I have.
Let's hear
I
about it. Some
mean,
from the Great White North.
so I'm up in Minnesota right now. In the
Minnesota.
Twin Cities area. Yeah, up in Minnesota, where
Meanwhile,
you got
when we
the
first
old Canadian standoff at every
You go
stop
to
sign.
you go to Twin Cities Reptiles at all?
I have been there. Yeah, dude, that shop is awesome.
Didn't you get your
There's
tarantula
a
from
bunch of stuff there. I actually got my tarantula from One Love Tarantulas. They're
Oh,
also
nice.
based here in the Twin Cities, but they're out of their home actually. Most of what they do is like they go to all the different like trade shows and like reptile shows and stuff. And then they do like exhibits for kids with the tarantulas and stuff. So I think that's really cool.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've been up to that shop a couple of times actually. I brought my son up there, and every time we go in there, he wants something that is just entirely out of my budget at the moment. You know, he'll see something in a really awesome enclosure or just with like he's got an eye for the expensive ones, and he doesn't even read the price tags yet, you know.
Nice.
But I suppose that's all kids, right? They don't even
right.
need to. They don't even need to be able to see the price tag. They just go. Their hand goes straight for the expensive one.
Well,
This one, Dad.
Yeah, that's. I let her loose on Morph Market, just scrolling around the other night, and she picks a Bolin's python, and I'm like, you really? Like, out of all the things you could pick, really that might.
Sure, she picked it. Sure.
Right, Tristan actually just wanted
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
You know, scapegoat there for the
Honey, I
money
have to buy it for the child.
She needs it.
She really
needs
wants it.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that'll make her happy right now. So
It's an investment.
Well, outside of some of the shops and everything that I've been to, because for me, the journey is a lot in like building the terrariums and like the enclosures, right? And then I like working with local species, and so moving here from Arizona, there's a completely different environment for me to be working with. Right. Land of 10,000 lakes, right? So we do lots of fishing. We're always around a lake. We're hiking places. Even if I don't have my rods with me, there's water nearby, you know. And so like we've recently been hunting for like salamanders. There's, I forget the name of it. It's like a red spotted salamander, and there's another one that's like dark with all those blues on it. I'd have to go onto iNaturalist and see what like their names are, because I'm not quite the reptile by name of everything. I do like gourmet mushrooms and all kinds of other weird dorky stuff. But we've been trying to find salamanders up here, and
you're a herper whether you like it or not.
Oh yeah, I mean we love looking for critters. I just don't keep a lot of critters at the house, because for me, at least right now, and I'm not trying to make excuses for myself or whatever, because I keep telling Tristan I want to get stuff and then I don't. He's looking at me like right now. But for me, it's super important that I don't get something that I will have to rehome in 3 or 6 months. You know, like if I can't take care of it or don't feel that I can take care of it for the long term, then I'm not going to get it. You know,
what tarantula did you get?
Crazy. It was a golden knee.
Okay.
Tarantula. I was trying to get a one of the blue baboon.
Oh yeah,
tarantulas, but I couldn't find one that was like close enough to me to actually go pick up, and I didn't want to have one shipped. I don't feel good about shipping tarantulas because I got a sling. Little bit of a sad story actually that was just talking to Tristan about. Actually, my spider sling has unfortunately passed as of a couple of days ago. Yeah, Doing really well all winter. I got the first shed and didn't feed while the shed was just doing its thing, like buried itself under the ground. Ate a couple of times after that. Everything seemed fine. And then I came back and he's just like not moving. Tried to like do my thing and he's not moving. I grabbed him with the little pinchers. Unresponsive. I was like,
That happened to me last week, buddy. I feel you.
yeah. When you work with life, you work with death. And I knew getting a sling was like, you know, the odds of a sling making it to adulthood are kind of
That's
low.
why mom has 400.
Yep.
Yeah. What'd you lose, Smitty?
So I was gifted a group of Bacillotharia subfusca,
Oh, that's right.
the lowland form
Mm-hmm.
of the ivory ornamentals, and one of them, for whatever reason, I thought maybe that it was going into a molt or something in transit. So I left it for a solid 24 hours, and it didn't change. So yeah, I don't know what happened to it, but you know, I got three others. The three others are doing great, but
Good.
It was a bummer. And it's like I wasn't going to be one of those things where I was going to make a big deal out of it because they were gifted. You know, I'm not going to be like,
Yeah.
hey, I need you to send me another one right now. Like,
Yeah.
it happens. It's
Right.
whatever. You know,
Yeah.
all good. So, but I don't know what happened. That's the first DOA I've had in a very, very long time. Like,
Yeah,
I can't
man.
even remember the last one I had prior to that. So maybe I was just due. I don't know.
Could be.
Oh, it's nice to hear that it actually happens pretty infrequently. Like,
Agreed.
I think overall I've been very lucky with whether it's I'm sending stuff or getting stuff in. Like over the last, you know, however many years, I've had very, very minimal hiccups. So
yeah, Arizona, it can be hard because you send something to Tristan in the middle of summer and it's in the back of shipping, you know, it could
Well,
be
it's
pretty
also-
rough.
it's that weird time of year where, like, maybe not so now, but like, you know, a month ago it would be, you know, 80 here in the day, but then if I'm shipping it to like Washington, the nights in Memphis are, you know, in the 40s, maybe a little lower still. And then
Yeah.
we're seeing Washington is still cold, so it's like I want to pack it with a heat pack, but I can't because it's already 80 here, you know, and it's just that weird tricky time of year where you're playing that guessing game of, you know, pack it with heat or not. So.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people about that kind of thing too. I mean, not sellers per se, but buyers. Like they don't think about the stress that a seller would have to go through considering all these things when they're getting that order ready. It's a slippery slope, man. Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and with the storms and stuff that Tennessee and Kentucky were dealing with a couple weeks ago too, like I was supposed to get those Subfusca like almost three or 4 weeks ago, and just delay after delay each week, and it was one of those things where it's like no big deal. Like, you know, they kept saying we have to punt it to next week, and I'm like, do it. You know?
Yeah, I'd rather get them alive than now. I would rather get them alive later than dead now.
Yeah, for sure.
But you would be surprised at how many people just don't care, and they're like, send it. I'm not going to wait. I want you to send it. Because like I hear that from in like the Corn Stars chat and stuff. Like some of the guys that breed full time, they're like the amount of people that just don't care and are like, send it. Like the hub's backed up. I don't care. Send it. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Then because you know if you send it and that snake ends up dead, they're gonna throw a fit of like, why'd you send this? Why'd you do that? Like
You said
Right.
yeah, it's. I'd be taking screenshots of that whole conversation so that when you decide to go online and start crying about it, be like, look, dude.
Here it all is. Read it in a week.
I would just refuse to ship it if I knew it was not in the best interest of the animal.
Yeah, and most of the time they don't.
They can bite me, you
Yeah,
know.
it's like
Like-
sale isn't that important.
Yeah.
You know? Wild.
Welfare first.
What are y'all keeping currently though? Like, what's the collections looking like?
So for me, so my girlfriend Miranda, she has 2 leopard geckos, Kay and Pasa. Loves them to death. I mean, they're sweet. Well, Kay is a sweetheart. She's the female. Pasa's the male. He's a dick.
He's a male.
Dick. I got a blue tongue skink next to me over here. His name's Luffy. He's the shit, dude. I love him. Luffy's awesome. I held back on keeping blue tongue skinks for so long, and I regret every minute of it. I should have got one so long ago because I love him. I actually got him, dude. Wild story how I got him. He was given to me by a rich dude whose son was basically keeping him in a 20-gallon tank, full grown male in a blue tongue skink in a 20-gallon tank. And his dad was basically like, take it. This kid does not take care of this animal at all. Just take it. And I'm like, I'm cool. He took him home. He's in a 125-gallon tank now with a really, really nice humid side, nice little arid side. It's beautiful. Nice, big, beautiful.
Pimp Palace.
Yep, Pimp Palace. And then my daughter has her own bearded dragon. His name's Frankie. And then I got a Arizona blonde tarantula. Her name's Precious. I got a Venezuelan redhead. Her name's Annie. I got a Savannah monitor named Bubba. He's my baby. I raised Bubba from a hatchling. He still had a belly button, which blew my mind because I knew he was wild caught. Well, after the fact, after doing a stupid amount of research, like most young people do, they buy something because they think it's cool and then freak out about it later. But yeah, I found out he was wild caught after the fact, and I realized he still had a belly button, which made me freak out because he was that young. So I tried to make sure he was hydrated, this, that, the other. Now he's huge. He's spoiled. He's super well behaved. I love him to death. He was hanging out with me, Carrot, and Phil last night.
Yeah, he's a textbook monitor, man. He really is.
Yeah.
And like, Tristan was saying, like legit, like ambassador of reptiles.
Like, I could hand on a frequent basis. I hand this lizard to my 7-year-old, and she walks around with him as like her baby.
It's awesome.
Yep. All the time. So yep, I got him. I got my orange throat pygmy skink trio, tangerine, guava, and papaya. One of my females actually has that double tail going.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I'll send you some pictures later, guys. They're beautiful little skinks. Beautiful little skinks. And I'm actually going on Jason's podcast, putting in that work. I'm going to talk about them on his podcast in a couple weeks. I'm stoked for that. So I got them. I have a crocodile skink, red-eyed crocodile skink. I have a pair of White's tree frogs named Renus and Pinkle. And then I got a rescue cresty that had a gnarly skin infection, like to the point where its tail looks like it literally melted off and melted off. Yeah. So we're keeping a real close eye on her. Beautiful little gecko. She's a sweet little baby, but we're keeping a close eye on her. And then I got 2 sulcatas.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
How big are they?
Babies.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
You got time.
Smoke actually has a cool story how I got her. I was walking into a local smoke shop, it's Friday, going in to get my smokes, and I got a rapport with the guy because I used to go in there pretty frequently, and he's like, "Yeah, you're a reptile guy, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I love reptiles." Yeah, he's like, "Hey, man, check this out," and he brings out a box full of baby tortoises. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm trying to sell these. No one to buy them." I'm like, "Yeah, because these are everywhere. I'll take one off your hands, one less mouth to feed." And he's like, "Yeah, man, whatever. Nobody's buying them." So I just picked one out and named it Smoke. Had Smoke for the past years. And then the other one's Socrates, and she's teeny tiny still. Itty bitty.
Super cool,
Skinks
man.
are cool. I'm not familiar with those. I'm looking at those right now. Those are neat.
Oh yeah, you pull them up. They're pretty awesome, man.
You've never heard of red-eyed crocodile skinks, Smitty?
No, the pygmy skinks.
Oh, the orange-throat pygmies? Yeah, dude. And nobody, as far as I know, I'm one of the only people keeping them right now. I'm sure that there might be a few other people out there, but I haven't found anybody else. I haven't found anyone who's selling them because I do want to get another colony going. But I can't find them. I did find a guy that said he could help me get my hands on some, but and he also happens to be the only other person I've met in person that knows what they are and has bred them successfully. So yeah, they're awesome, but they're also like the bane of my existence because I kind of feel like I'm at a dead end with them. I do want to breed them and I do want to bring them into the hobby. I feel like I just can't do that effectively with just a trio. in my opinion. I'm sure I could, but I don't want to be putting a bunch of like related animals out there for everybody to have and then start breeding and then causing a problem. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have a bigger gene pool if I'm going to start putting these out for people to have.
That's the we're talking about the Eutropus, right?
If you can find me their Latin name, you're going to be my best friend, because nobody, I hope to God that's it. I've read all kinds of different papers, I guess like Reddit forums and stuff like that, and it's either they're saying this is what an orange throat pygmy skink is, and you'll see a picture of it and it's a sunbeam skink, or
I'm seeing Eutropus macularia, but it also says they're bronze grass skinks.
Yep.
Okay.
There's not that much out there known about them, and I'm just watching them, noting my observations, and figuring them out as I go, basically. I mean, they're not hard, really. It's kind of like caring for a fire skink.
Yeah, I can see that.
They like to burrow, just like fire skinks do, but at the same time, they like to climb. Like they're going to use just about every part of that enclosure you give them. If you give them really deep substrate and then a bunch of branches to climb on and pothos and Swiss cheese plants, the works, they'll even utilize bromeliads to drink out of. They're awesome. They're out all the time. They'll burrow down at night, lay their eggs down in their burrows, hang out and bask on the branches. They're awesome little critters. And if you wanted to keep just one lone male or one lone female, they could easily be housed in a 10-gallon aquarium, because they're not big at all. They're tiny little skinks, which is a lot of personality.
Yeah. And Scott, I just put the scientific name in the chat for you.
If you need one better, I'm pulling it up now.
Oh, good.
I thought you were for a second, so I didn't.
I was going to, and I was like, you know what? I wanted to put the scientific name in the chat. Like, I had to type it in physically because I'm using my phone to search it. And I was like, that way we can just copy and paste if we want. So. Yeah, they're cute, man.
Yeah, they're adorable little skink.
And I feel like you could do a really cool naturalistic setup with that.
See, that's a nice looking male right there. You see that throat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Down on carotenoids right there. Now, carotenoids with these guys, and Matt, thank you, Matthew Wayne. Matt was the one that turned me on to carotenoids, dude. Give these, like, gut load your insects before you feed them, and watch the colors pop. It's insane, and it's the males mostly. Like, they're the only ones that have that orange throat. But you know how when you take a sunbeam snake out or a white-lip python, you get it in just that right light?
Oh yeah.
With that beautiful. These guys will do the same thing. Especially the females. I would argue the females do it more. And I think that would be a picture of a female right there.
You can kind of see that iridescence on the back a little bit.
Yeah, and in person, man, like, cameras don't do it justice. In person, they iridesce so beautifully. So beautifully. I love them.
Yeah, man, you could do a really cool quasi-bioactive, like, window into the ecosystem with a lot of decor. Like, that would be a really cool setup, man.
I'll send you pictures of my setup, man. Keeping these guys bioactive, honestly, is the best way to go. If you keep them bioactive and your springtails are key, because the babies will feed on them. When these things are babies, they're like tiny.
Oh, I'm sure they're microscopic.
Tiny, itty bitty, like ridiculously small. They will feed on springtails and baby isopods. And as they mature, they're going to continue feeding on those isopods because they're a great source of calcium. They're crustaceans, technically. Look at that one. That's a beautiful one right there.
I like their little eyebrows, like they're disappointed in you.
They'll give you that look sometimes, too, if you haven't fed them a little bit, and they're like, oh, yeah, well, you're fat. I don't want to feed you right now. But they'll look at you with that disappointment. Like, damn you.
Like you told them an off-color joke, and they don't appreciate it.
Yeah, they're great little skinks, man. But I know, like, bioactive keeping these guys bioactive. You have an established colony of both springtails and isopods going in there. Hell, you could even get red wiggler worms, the ones that don't need to be refrigerated. Throw that substrate. the tank will do the work for you as long as those colonies of cleaners are there and established. And sure, you'll have to add more every now and then if you got like a really voracious female that's trying to load up before she lays her pair of eggs. Yeah, you'll have to do that every now and then. But if you have a really, really healthy bioactive setup, it will do most of the work for you. Like, their poops are teeny tiny too, so the isopods will clean it up. And another fun thing I like to do with these guys is that they're not necessarily fruit eaters per se, but you can throw like a little piece of mango or a little like a blueberry or something in there like that, crush it up like if it's a blueberry, throw it in there. It'll bring up the isopods out of the substrate, right?
Oh yeah.
Sit on the branch above those little pieces of fruit, jump down off the branch and feed on the isopods like that. And every now and then you'll actually see them just lick some of the juice off of, they won't take bites out of it, but they'll lick some of the juice off the fruit. It's really cool behavior to watch, man. I don't do it often because, you know, then I got to pull out fruit.
Yeah.
They'll go down on those pods, and it also does a number on my pod colony, but it is a fun behavior to watch sometimes.
So what I would have to do with dart frogs is put like a piece of fruit or something to get them all to hang around that so that the frogs come up and eat them, and especially on like the tiny stuff, like the thumbnails, just to keep all the fruit flies from sort of just scattering and going all over the place.
See, that's something I guess I could try with the babies is because I got a nice incubator going now, and I want to start because I usually hatch the babies inside the enclosure. Do that, you want to make sure all the adults are very well fed.
Oh, will they go disappearing?
If the adults are well fed, they're not going to disappear. If you start feeding, they're going to disappear. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Are they going to cannibalize them or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you skip,
they don't have enough food in there.
Yeah, keep them well fed, and they won't go for the babies, and the babies grow pretty fast. They grow up quick. So.
I'm just reading this in a study in the southern Western Ghats. Most frequently encountered reptile implantations containing 3 to 6 eggs. Dude, they pump out 6 eggs. That's wild for that little guy.
Oh yeah, they're monsters. They're monsters. Like they'll scatter them too, like spread them out. They won't drop them all in the same place. Usually they'll do 2 here, then they'll go 2 over there, and then they'll go 2 over here. Sometimes it'll be like a pair will just be under a leaf, and then another pair will be dug down about a ½ inch, and then another pair is going to be dug down about like 2 inches almost into the substrate. It's weird. And every time they do it, you know how when you go and you candle an egg, you have to do it right side up, like vein side up?
Yeah.
Well, I was curious one time, so I went and I grabbed an egg and candled it, and I tried to make sure I didn't move it at all as I'm lifting it. I go to candle it right side up, put it down, pick up the next one, right side up, put it down. So each time they lay, it's right side up every single time. And the only time I ever found one that wasn't, it was a dud. Anyways, which is kind of cool. I have witnessed behavior where the mother mothers, because I have 2. Look at that male right there. All them carotenoids. Beautiful. Beautiful. But I have witnessed them moving eggs around, and at first I thought, oh, she's eating a dud, or maybe she's eating the other female's eggs. So I started sitting and I started watching, and I'm like, what's going on? I watched her pick up and move 2 eggs. I said, okay. And she's going under the same leaf every time. I said, all right. Kept watching. 15 minutes goes by. She goes and picks up another egg from a different part of the enclosure. Takes it all the way over, puts it under the same leaf. And I'm like, okay, I need to see what's going on under that leaf. Pick up the leaf, and there they are, little ducks in a row, and she's starting to bury them. So she looks up at me, dips off, and I'm like, all right, I want to see if she put these right side up. Like, I want to see. So I start candling them, little ducks in a row, right side up, right side up, right side up. I just put them down, threw a little bit of substrate over them, put the leaf over it, and I'm like, Mama knows what she's doing. Left them alone. Only one of them make it.
How long do they take to incubate?
It varies because they're dropping what to me what seems like all year long. And I've noticed that in the summer, incubation can be anywhere from like, I want to say about 4 weeks, maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the winter, the success rate's lower, but it'll take longer, like maybe almost, I want to say anywhere from 6 to 7 weeks.
Okay.
It varies a lot, and honestly, I'm not the best record keeper either. I do need to get better about that, and that's one of my goals that I'm doing this year is to start doing better record keeping. I'm gonna try a couple different incubation techniques, and just it takes me.
How many do you currently have right now?
In my colony, I got three adults.
Oh, okay. So you've been flipping the offspring, or?
Well, sad story about the offspring on that one. So we moved them, right? We were moving, like
Yeah.
We moved them. I don't know what it was about the move, but it killed them.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Yeah, I lost all of them. We had 4. We had 4 babies going, and
Well, you were doing something right, so you'll do it again.
Yeah, no, I'm working on it. I mean, I've seen babies pop up a couple of times, but I wasn't on top of the feeding at that time because I was not expecting babies. So I just lose the babies. But now that I got this nice incubator going and I'm doing more research on incubating techniques for eggs that are like the size of jelly beans for the most part, we'll see where it takes us. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Rock and roll, man. Well, Carrot, what are you keeping, man?
Well, at the moment, my collection is down to nothing because historically I've had lots of like other animals. And moving up to Minnesota, like we got rid of the dog, we got rid of the cat, like all the regular critters, right? And then being in the apartment and just having like my son, we didn't really have much for the first year we were up here. And now we're like just settling into the house. Like there's still all these boxes in the garage, So I'm like, well, let me not get into anything that like I was saying earlier, that I can't feel that I can take care of long term, right? So I get the tarantula, and then like just not even like less than a week ago, my one critter bit the dust, right? Yeah. So a little disheartening there, but
sounds like
ultimately we're at like the start phase for me because I had to give up my pond and all the other stuff when we moved, right? So for me it was like, let me build a pond in the yard, let me stock mini catfish and this and the other, but since the move I haven't really gotten back too much into anything.
What's in the crosshairs?
Man, honestly,
there's an albino incubator for you with your name on it.
There's so many different things that I don't really know where to begin with, to be honest. And that's why I'm going back to like local stuff, because that's just kind of where my interests are drawn at instead of
you got
something else I find at the shop.
Until you get a rhino rat.
Those things are sick, dude.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was gonna say he's got some of the coolest embostoma in his area, and like the blue spotteds, man. Those things are electric. And like I don't know what the laws are in terms of you being able to field collect them or touch them or whatever. But
so
if you could, that'd be a great pet in your environment.
Yeah, so I was actually just recently looking into that because I want to go kind of down that route where it's like, hey, if I can find, a local species of salamander that I can take and I can keep, right, it's going to be very easy for me to emulate that environment because it's a local species, right? And then I'm not out $200 or whatever it was for something that I go to a shop for, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I'm looking that up, and as it turns out, any of the like aquatic species and reptiles and stuff, other than like, just go get a fishing license for fish. If you're talking about reptiles and other stuff, they're all protected species. So for me to be able to take one home, I have to have a permit of one category or another, right?
Oh, geez.
At face value, that scares a lot of people away. They're like, oh man, like, because honestly, I feel like you should be able to just keep one. But at the same time, I also understand it's like a $14 permit, and you let them know, hey, this is like who I am, and I want to be able to responsibly keep one of these. And then they say yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like they have, I was looking into it, and they haven't denied one for a long time. To get a research permit is a little different. You have to have some stuff behind what you're doing. But you just get like what's it called? It's a educational permit, right? Because if you're doing it for your own education, you're not even making videos, it's still an education permit, right?
Nice.
Versus if you're making it videos out of it, or you want to learn more about them so you can talk about them on a podcast, which is kind of stuff that you're doing, right? It all qualifies in that, hey, we're trying to learn about these critters, right? We're not going to go hunt 50 of them and put them all on the market. I want to legally keep one or a couple, maybe one from here, and then I go 50 miles that way and I spot another one. I know they're far enough away from each other that their gene pool is not going to be the same, right? So now I can start introducing that into the hobby world, where now we don't have to take them from the wild because we're breeding them. But I'm a nerd about some other stuff. Right now I have 17 different species of just pink oyster mushrooms, and then there's lion's mane mushrooms, there's like a bunch of these other things, right? So for me, my time and money kind of went down that rabbit hole, and when
You're
it came
just a
time
fun guy.
heard it so many times, the fun guy over here.
Like, how do you go about cultivating those? Because I've seen the kits you can buy online that have like the cardboard box and they like grow out of it. I think that's for people that are like growing them to eat. But
yeah, so honestly, I kind of hit on this in one of our early episodes because it's one of the hobbies that I bring to the hangar. I would say that if you wanted to get into it or get started or were interested, just kind of in exploring that interest, just get one of those pre-made mushroom kits, like you were just saying, in a box. It's in a bag that's inside that box, so it stays sterile and everything in transit. But there's a lot to the process. It's very complex. I wouldn't say any of it is difficult. None of it is very difficult, but it is complex. There's a lot of steps involved. You want to make sure that everything is sterile, this and the other, right? So if you want to go down that rabbit hole, I encourage people to do so. I think it's a lot of fun. But if you're just like, hey, I just want to have like the occasional harvest of fresh mushrooms for me and the family, right? That's not portobellos or button mushrooms. I would just get one of those kits. It's cost effective. It doesn't take you much time. You spritz it with a spray bottle, and then you harvest some mushrooms when you're ready.
You know what's cooler than mushrooms?
Snakes.
What's that?
Blue salamanders.
That's the one I'm talking about. That's exactly the one I'm talking about.
Just saying.
Those blue spotted salamanders, and those are local here in Minnesota. They're all over the place. So
yeah, I'm super envious.
2 weeks ago, if I had gone out to like 9 Mile Creek or some of these other like local treks to me, there'd be still a little bit of ice. Everything is still like hiding, and now we're starting to see like those 70, 80 degree days, and the low isn't freezing anymore. So now that we're out of like the last freeze, there's the potential to actually go and find some of these guys.
What's your closest city to you?
I'm in the Bloomington area. Like I'm right in Minneapolis. So I'm on the edge almost, basically.
How far is that from St. Paul?
About 20 minutes. It depends on which part of St. Paul I need to get to, but
I couldn't point out any of that on a map, for being honest.
Okay, so that one I just showed you is like a 30-minute drive from downtown Grand Rapids.
You looking at that on iNet?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
That's how Carrot and I learned about
The
him.
Grand Rapids area is super nice too.
Yeah.
Isn't that Michigan?
Hmm?
Grand Rapids?
Hold on a second. No, it's in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Different.
There's also an Austin, Minnesota.
Is
as
there a
opposed to
There's a Grand
Austin,
Rapids,
Texas.
Michigan, right? I'm not going crazy.
No,
I
thought-
believe so.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about like cool native stuff, do you guys want to see one of the most like beautiful colubrids native to Arizona?
Absolutely,
Always.
I do.
All right, I'll be right back.
I love that he's like, instead of getting a picture, he's just gonna go get.
He's gonna pull out a 4-foot serb or something.
Yeah, he's gonna go grab one of his specimens.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
year's Rocky, we ain't no
He's
puppy.
a 6-foot oxybellus. Don't mind his pissed off demeanor. But yeah, it's super cool, man. That you're doing the mushroom thing, and that you're raising your kid to be a little herper too. That's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be real fun.
We're starting it off kind of in that lower, like tiered up progression as we go. He's still really big on all the worm bins that we have. That's something I didn't mention. We've got 4 different bins with like earthworm colonies, because buying 10 worms at a time when you go fishing is ridiculous.
Got
And
worms.
I've got a big garden, so like compost, you know.
That's what we're
Yeah.
gonna.
So like worms, isopods,
Got worms. Yeah.
you know, he's always flipping over rocks and everything. And when we discovered that the retainer wall, when we bought this house, the fucking retainer wall on the side, you lift one brick and there's like 800 isopods under there. You know,
Oh wow.
like out in Arizona, there's like a couple of isopods under each rock.
So
Like this damn thing was like, it was the drainage for that entire slope of the hill on the property. And so it just kept all the moisture inside that retaining wall. And there was just,
They were about
there's
it.
just an ungodly amount of isopods there. There still is. Like if I ever need more, I go flip one of those bricks on that retainer wall, and there we go.
All right, Tristan, are we looking at shovel nose? What is that?
Yep, it's a shovel nose.
Hell yeah.
Pretty dude, isn't it?
Gorgeous.
Yep. It's sad that the part of land he came off of just got bulldozed.
Oh, jeez.
It was like right next door to one of my friend's houses. So yeah, I'm gonna try to find him a suitable habitat. They like frogs, I heard, so I might try to bring him down by the Verde River we got here, because I've seen guys before down there. So maybe he'll have a good chance at life there. I know that they say you're supposed to release him not far from where you got him, but that whole place is getting bulldozed. All of it. Like what's happening in Florida is happening here too. Like what your guys' gopher tortoises?
Yeah.
Happening to our Gila monsters.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm gonna go put this guy up. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I still have dreams of keeping Hypsoglenna one day before I die.
You can. You will.
I know. I just don't want to. I'm getting to an age. I'm getting old, Phil, and I'm wanting to
You're
pick and choose my
Not
battles.
getting old.
I am. I got one foot in the grave, buddy. At 34.
Jesus. Oh,
Putting down payments on a headstone already.
that's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Anytime I see Connor Wardle's Hypsoglenna or anyone post a Hypsoglenna that they found, all I think about is the late nights in Texas, playing with everyone I found.
It was good times, man. It was good times. Memories. Anyway, yeah, where were we? We were talking about your guys' collections. Aside from blue salamanders, prospects in the near future?
Well, I've also been looking at a couple of other like local ones, which I know some other people aren't necessarily going to be like, oh, what about the exotic one or whatever.
No, man, it's all about the backyard.
There's it's like a smooth green snake. It's just
Oh,
like
yeah.
your regular little snake, you know. But they play like a really important role in the ecosystem here, especially in the urban built environment. They're one of the species that continues to thrive even when we got like houses and all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
But like the problem right now is that like I've noticed I don't see as many like as I should because of pest control issues. There's a lot of like things that they're going to go out and spray and put down in places that are going to affect these smaller, more less resilient snakes. And so I'm curious to finding them and seeing like where they thrive better and just kind of figuring out those casual observations as I go. But
Dude,
then
those
again,
will be fun. I
it's-
kept rough greens, and those are really enjoyable to have. That's a fun group. You would kick out of those.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to kind of have a few of those and kind of get that to be something that Orion's able to enjoy because they're very docile. You know, they're going to be very handleable and manageable, especially for a small kid, right? We're not used to our big pythons or anything yet. You know, Tristan has he's done a very good job with Clover and everything. She's got Bubba and all these other things, but Orion still gets a little nervous when something's 4 or 5 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, some of the first snakes I ever kept were rough greens, man. It was when I was a kid. I was probably 6 or 7.
Nice. Yeah.
Freaking loved them.
My first snake was an Everglades rat. That was my first snake. His name was Pimp Cane. Mean as that.
Great first snake, man. Great first snake. Horrible first snake on paper, but great first snake.
I want another one, man. I really do. I would love to have. They're beautiful snakes. Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And now that what I know now compared to when I was like 9,
yeah,
I'm gonna do so much better this time. I mean, Pimp Cane lasted for a while. Pimp Cane lived 6 years after I bought him, and when I bought him, I'm pretty sure he was already an adult, and I'm pretty sure he was also a wild caught.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was cool though. I miss him. I think about him a lot.
You just gotta get another one. I'll tell you what, though, that is a hard snake to find now.
Yeah.
Just because of urban expansion, I really am a firm believer that they are just integrating with yellows, and that's why you have some really, really attractive yellows, and you never see Everglades anymore. So,
but do you breed any?
Me, I was raising up babies to do so, and that project kind of fell apart. I had female pass away, and I have a not a wild caught. I mean, I rescued it from pickleball court. That I think it's a boy. I haven't probed it yet because I've just been letting him chill. That's like a giant adult. So,
yes, Instagram.
What's that?
I think I saw it on your Instagram. You're like, boy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man. So I'm keeping the stress down, and he was wigging out a little bit and getting nose rubs. So I've just been leaving him be and like not messing with him, but he's been eating. He's put on great weight. So I think maybe in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try and put him into a 2x18x2 Viv from Black Box. And when I do that, I'll probe him and see what the hell's really going on up in there. So
yeah, get him someday, man. Because I'd love to pick some up someday.
Yeah, man, he's a screamer. Actually, I fed him a chick for the first time yesterday, and just a frozen thawed yellow chick, and he immediately came out of his hide, and I had it on hemostats, and he kind of looked at it like, that's not what you normally give me. Like, what is this? And like being a wild being a wild adult, I would have imagined it's eating birds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eggs,
at the very least.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, it wanted nothing to do with the bird. It wanted the tongs because the tongs smelled like all the other rats I was feeding. Mm-hmm. So after a minute, I was like, you know what? He's just going after the tongs. So I just left it in there, put the lid on the thing, went away, came back, and it's halfway down his throat. So he figured it out.
There you go.
Yeah.
I pulled like a 3-foot rat snake out of my next door neighbor's chicken coop the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
And I was like, "Hey, Jake, you want another yellow rat?" He's like, "No."
No.
I was like,
Yeah, he's too good for the wild
I was
caught
gonna
locals.
say, he
now.
was begging me for Ladies Island yellows at one point, and now I find Ladies Island yellows. He's like, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah. Yeah, he's it's not the right one, bro.
Well, he's got that pair from my backyard, those babies, so he's straight.
You ever a Sonoran ground snake? I know Nipper's seen him. He has pictures. He has pictures of everything though, of course. But you ever seen a Sonoran ground snake?
No, when did he see that?
It's a I don't remember when. I was looking through his Instagram and I saw one. I was creeping, you know. I saw one. Damn, that's a beautiful snake, but they're a tricolored snake, black,
Mm-hmm.
white, and they got those red spots going down their back, and they eat invertebrates. They eat millipedes. I keep seeing them pop up at shows here in Phoenix, man. I saw one last year. I was talking to the seller and I was like, "Hey, what? This is insane. What does this thing eat? Tell me about it." And she grabs a little cup of millipede and says, "It's been eating these." I go, "What? Damn. All right." That was a rabbit hole I dived down, and yeah, no, I come to find out that they're actually a native species, and I can find them out in the desert. You gotta look hard because they're down in the ground looking for all those little invertebrates. I bet you I could have neonates feeding on isopods.
Yeah.
If I was to get like babies, but that would be a bucket list species if I could keep. It would just be kind of a pain in the ass feeding, you know.
Yeah.
Whatnot.
That's what I was saying while you were putting the shovel nose away. It was like the night snakes and stuff that you guys have out there. Like, that's such a cool group, but I don't know that I really want to deal with the headache of feeding lizards and stuff. You know?
I mean, we have tons of invasive skinks here, and that's what they're eating anyways. We
Yeah.
have invasive. God, what are they called? They're from the Middle East. It's escaping me. They're oscillated skinks. There we go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have an invasive a huge invasive population, like not even contained to the Phoenix area, but like out into the desert. They do great out here. Or the roadrunner population has actually gone up because of that.
Yeah, I found that picture. That's the one, right?
Beautiful snake, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gorgeous, man. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he saw that in Utah. But yeah, that thing's killer. Absolutely killer.
Yeah, we got them down here too. They're beautiful thing. But yeah, the oscillated skinks, we got a crazy population of. We have Bimini blind snakes that are in the Phoenix area because they live in flower pots and lawns. I actually found one of those underneath a house when I was doing a job once.
Wow.
Yeah, it was super cool. Like we flip over a piece of concrete and there's this little black worm, and I'm like, that's not a worm. So my coworker goes to grab it and I smack him. I'm like, you don't know what that is. I don't even know what that is. I take a picture of it, send it to my buddy. He goes, that's a Bimini blind snake. They eat termites and ants. Pick it up. You're fine. It's an invasive species. I pick it up, put it in a cup, and he still has that animal in a display enclosure.
Really?
Yeah, he's able to feed it termites. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's wild, man. That's wild. We get crazy breeding balls of them down by me, and like we'll go out looking for scorpions or just herping, and you'll come across like a rotten log. So naturally, you go to flip it or roll it to try and look for scorpions, and there'll just be like 200 blind snakes, just like
Jesus,
that's great,
just doing their thing. Wild, yeah.
What? That's wild. Damn.
Yeah,
and then the minute fucking orgy.
Yeah, and then the minute you shine your light, they just scatter like roaches. It's wild.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
makes you wonder how they like are able to detect it.
Yeah, right.
Light?
Yeah,
that's easy. Like they still do kind of have eyes. I
Yeah.
mean, like, reptiles have a, for bearded dragons, here's a good example. They have a third eye on the back of their head, and it's basically to detect a change in light. So let's say there's a predatory bird up there and it flies over, that the bearded dragon can detect it because of the change in light. A lot of reptiles have that. They can just detect the change in light really quickly.
So they got like a friggin' photo level like detector in one of their scales or whatever.
I wouldn't
what?
Definitely, because I don't know the science behind it. I just know that like it's just something that they are good at. It's an evolutionary thing, dude. Especially when you're spending so much time under the log banging, you know, and someone flips it and shines a light on you. I'd freak out too.
I'd
one of
be
those under
gone real
his
fast.
Be like that. Then we got another. It's not a herp, but another weird invasive species we have in the Phoenix area is peach-faced lovebirds, a West African parrot. They're like this big.
Interesting.
Yeah, you always hear them before you see them too. They like to live in the saguaros, and they live in the palm trees around the valley. And people feed them. They drink out of fountains. They're really just contained to the Phoenix area, really. But they're kind of cool to see.
That's very, very cool.
They do pretty well here. There's like 5,000 of them. It started it started with a really small population that just got loose. And now there's like literally over 5,000.
What are you lighting up, Smitty? Is that Chromag? No.
Avo.
Oh, nice.
Uvezian.
I saw
I haven't had this one before.
I saw the back of the band, and I thought Chromag.
So do you got to go to, or do you just switch it up because you've been smoking cigars for a while? You always switch it up.
I'd say the last like year or two, sort of my daily go-to is that Nica Rustica Adobe.
Right on.
It's because it's good smoke for, $7.
Is that kind of like your all around flavor profile? You like it because of that, or is it just a good cigar for $7 type deal?
A good cigar for $7. Yeah.
All right, dig it, dude. I can dig it for sure.
I consider myself a blue collar smoker. Like, I'm not super bougie and got to smoke, a Liga every day. Like, I am completely content buying 3 or 4 Nica Rusticas instead of 1 Liga. And
dude, I used Garcia Vegas and think I was fan.
My dad smoked those for a really long time too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, I don't mind a Garcia Vega on occasion.
No, I'm talking about those little mini ones that came in the glass tube with the cork.
Yeah,
Those
the ones
little
that
mini
gas
cigars,
station, gas station snub nose revolver, man. That's it.
You pay $1.15, you're good to go.
Look, man, when you're hammered on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, and it's 2 a.m, and you just left Caesar's Palace. That's a mighty fine smoke. I'm just saying.
Smoke at that point.
Yep.
Just saying. Oh man.
What I did just finish though is that Rocky Patel Emerald, that new one that Rocky just released a couple weeks ago. It was
cool.
Really good.
You still got the band or no?
See if it's not on fire. Oh
yeah, man. I feel bad. We didn't talk about that earlier.
I threw it over there somewhere.
Oh, whatever. Okay.
Kind of thrown off. I didn't hear you say, Smitty, what do you smoke? I almost asked him, Smitty, what do you smoke?
We were wrapped in a conversation. I'm sorry. I feel horrible that I didn't ask. I do.
It was very good. It's that was one of the ones like freshly opened out of the box. So usually that initial, couple days of them being opened, try to let them sit for a little bit to kind of breathe some, but that was actually really good. Straight out the box, that was very good.
Nice.
I will be smoking that again.
Smitty, I got a good question for you, man. I asked Bill this, and this is something I'm going to actually get in the habit of doing on my show more often. So I asked Phil. I said, "Hey, man, what is your passion?" Mine, for example, is monitor lizards. When it comes to keeping herps, mine are monitor lizards. I absolutely adore them. Savannah monitors, I have a huge soft spot for it. I love monitor lizards. It's what I'm passionate about. What's your thing? And then I got another question after that one. I'm pretty sure I know
it's going to depend on when you ask me.
What you're looking at?
As far as like herp wise, rhino rat snakes.
I hear you talk about them.
I know that's a shocker to most. Green tree pythons.
Ooh.
And then I dabble in some. I got some corns, and bear rat snakes have been a big thing. But I have like a pair of Andean milk snakes that I love. I got a couple 2 house snakes that I really enjoy. But like, if someone said get rid of everything tomorrow, except, the response to that would be the rhino rats, without a doubt. So, but I've been on a really hardcore arachnid kick since Daytona. So, I'm back in the thick of it with tarantulas and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, man, I love me some tarantulas. I want to get me another bird eater someday, another blondie. But all right, so here's my follow-up question before I go off on a tarantula tangent. So what about it keeping those snakes? Makes you happy. It truly makes you smile. Like for example, when I was telling Phil last night, for me, I find success, I find happiness in monitor keeping when I'm able to create a relationship with an animal through trust, respect, and time. Now, I said that because I had Bubba literally sitting right here, and I'm just petting him like a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of interaction with most monitor lizards, if not all monitor lizards, takes an incredible amount of time, dedication, and trust. And when you put that time, dedication, trust, and love into an animal, and it reciprocates that in its way,
mm-hmm.
that is success in my hobby. That is what makes me happy, and that's why I keep going back to it. What would be that for you in your
the gratitude of being able to own them in the first place, because those were both green trees and rhinos in particular. That was a species as a kid. I'd see them in Reptiles magazine. I'd see pro exotic ads for rhinos when they sort of first got into the country and stuff, and I remember thinking, like, those are really cool. I'll probably never have any.
Mm-hmm.
Just because at the time the paywall was so high, like no one had them. They were crazy expensive. And I mean, condors in particular are still crazy expensive, but like just the fact that like I can have them, if we're talking sort of about the species in particular, like why I'm so drawn to them. Like with the green trees, it's just sort of the natural history of them, and the fact that like they're never on the ground and they live a lifestyle that is completely different from everything else, on the planet, minus tree boas. But I just find the whole color change thing fascinating. The lifestyle in general, and sort of the, maybe not so much now because we know more about them than we used to, but like just the mystique that surrounded them for so long, and the stigma of them being difficult and really hard to keep, and thinking that going into them, and then coming to realize like they're actually probably some of the easiest snakes to keep. And granted, they are extremely boring. They are not an exciting snake to keep.
Yeah.
They're about as boring as it gets. I think second only to sand boas, which rough-scaled sand boas are another one on that list too.
I was gonna say I was surprised you didn't bring up the sand boas.
I forgot about them.
Kenyans?
No, they're Indian rough scales.
Oh,
yeah. So I have a group of those and really enjoy them as well. But yeah, like with the rhinos, it's sort of a similar thing where it's like it's just such a unique species that there's really nothing else like them out there. With the horn and everything, and no one really knowing exactly what that's for, why it exists, and then coming to find again that that's also such an easy species to keep,
mm-hmm.
that they're super content with a lot of parameters, minus higher heat, like super personable, always out and about. Like if mine aren't sitting out, I know they're in shed because they'll just disappear for like 2 weeks. But then as soon as they shed, they're back out and they're on display constantly. If I'm in the room, they're like at the glass, like dogs, just kind of like cruising, waiting for food. Like,
take me out. Where's my food?
They all have, each one has different personalities in a way. I've got some that are super mellow and want to investigate what's going on, and I've got others that are much more skittish and don't want anything to do with me, and then I've got some that are just thinking if it moves, it's food, and I'm going to find out if I can eat it or not. So it's just, and then hatching some, like being able to breed those the past couple of years, you know. And again, going back to sort of the gratitude part of it, of like, first, I'm amazed that I was even able to get my hands on some, that I was able to own some, and that Zach Loafman gifted me a group of them and sent them to me and was like, you will do good with these, take these. But then to also take it a step further and be like, now I'm hatching them. Like, I get to see the process of breeding them, and then the process of babies and getting those started, and like that whole sort of song and dance that you have to do when they're fresh. And it's really cool that I can even do that now. And it's the same with some of the spiders and stuff, you know, seeing ornamental tarantulas and whatnot online in the early days, when I was younger, and now it's like I get to have those too. You know, it's wild. You know, it's like stuff that I was sure that I would never own, but here we are. So
it's great, man. It's great.
Yeah, dude. That was an awesome answer, actually.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like you're making, you know, younger version of yourself proud. And
well, it's such a, I think it too, when you're super passionate about a species, like you just want to tell people about them. And I feel like, I'm sure people are probably sick to death of me talking about rhinos, but oh my God, man, like someone's like, what's a great first snake? I'm like, a freaking rhino. Like, you get one that's eating, like that is the coolest snake you will have. You will love it. It will always be out.
Dude,
it's super handleable.
I can't listen to people that are passionate about things like you before walking into a reptile store or expo. You want to know why? Because dudes like you, when they speak about something they're passionate about, like your rhinos, and I've heard you talk about your rhinos every time you talk about them on the show, I never get tired about it. Because when you talk about your rhinos, dude, I don't need to see you on a screen to see that light spark in your eyes, bro. I can hear it in your voice too. You like, that passion's contagious. To the point where if I saw one sitting right in front of me and you and I just had a conversation about them, I'd probably drop the cash, dude. Not gonna lie. And on top of that, it would be cool for me just because I would have someone like you to talk about with them. Like, hey man, how are you doing this? How do you think I could do it better? Hey, I saw this. What do you think about that? That to me in itself would be awesome. Like, just like what we were talking about, what our show, the Hobby Hangar, is about. That's really it in a nutshell right there, dude.
I think too, like if you have a species that you feel some kind of way about, to the point to where you want to go across the world to go find them specifically and see them, or at least take the chance to, like, say you, like, not even guaranteeing that you're going to see it, but if someone's like, hey, next year we're going to go to Vietnam, like to you know, we're going to go to Tam Dao and see if we can find rhinos, like, I'm going to do what I can to go. Like, I'm going to figure it out.
My mom's been there. It's a beautiful country. Like, send it. We went there for the World Drowning Conference about, I want to say 9 years back.
Mm-hmm.
Loved every minute of it. She's like, loved it. You could go there and live like a king on $500.
Wow.
Like, she had a dress made for her, head to toe, like made for her. She paid $3 for it. $3.
Wow. That's wild.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
But it's, even if you don't see the species you're looking for, like, think of the information you're gonna learn and take in just from being in country, you know, in hyper specifically in range, that you can then take home and say, okay, here's what I'm clearly missing. Like, this might be part of what needs to be changed as far as how I'm keeping things. You know, I think Casey Cannon's a good example of that, because he was the Brettles guy for a very long time, and he went to Alice Springs and saw Brettles in the wild. And he like took as much data as he could when he was there and got a bunch of information that he wouldn't have gotten, you know, otherwise. I mean, yeah, I can message Scott Eiper and be like, hey, what are Brettles pythons living in? And like, he can tell me, but it's like one thing to take the effort to go there and see for yourself and see it firsthand and like experience it and things like that. And I, you know, it's, I want to do that. Like, I want to go to Vietnam. I want to figure out a way to get out there and see if I can find rhinos in the wild. And
do it, bro.
Just
do it. Take pictures. Fucking, like, let us live vicariously through you as you tell us all about it. Come on our show and talk about it. Like, fucking do it, man, please.
I gotta be honest, man. That Casey story, like, every time he tells it, And like the fact that he was by himself, like he went there with a friend, and the friend was not with him when he found it. And like, imagine being that you found the species that your heart and soul is in, and you found it in its habitat in the middle of this bombed out river gorge,
damn near the moon.
And like you're in it, and like you may be the one of the only humans to have ever set foot on this rock, on these rocks that you're standing on, let alone you may be the only human to have ever seen that snake.
Yeah,
and
dude.
you get to have that. Like, that is just
like a religious experience.
Yeah, it's epic, man. And then take all that data and all that observation, take that home and apply it to the home collection. Bro, why do you not have a ticket to Vietnam, Smitty?
Yep.
We got to go back to West Texas, man, and find
We
those
do have
goddamn
to
bear
go. I
drats.
wanna, dude, if I go back, I'm going back to West Texas to see bears, but also being back in tarantulas and stuff now, it's like I want to find me some Aphonopelma.
Yeah.
I saw plenty while we were there. Didn't play with any of them. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
an Aphonopelma. That's cool. Now I'm like, oh, it's an Aphonopelma. Like, all of a sudden, Smitty in his semi-old age is like into brown spiders that he had no interest in, 10 years prior.
Yes, dirt spiders. Yes.
Dude, I'm about it. Like,
Yeah.
Brachypelma's become one of my favorites now. I'm just
love it. Do you ever find something like you've always wanted to find, and when you found it, like it brought a tear to your eye? Like, I will fully 100% admit it. This happened to me almost 2 weeks ago. I shit you not. I saw a Gila monster for the first time in the wild, and I cried.
That's it, man.
Man, I remember seeing the videos of that thing.
Oh, and the fact that it was missing its back left leg and the tip of its tail, but it was all healed over completely, and this doing just fine, cruising around, doing the thing. It went underneath a bush with some quail nests underneath there. It comes out with some feathers in its mouth. Like, it's doing good. It made me smile. It made me cry. It made me so happy to see that. And then to see the foot, like to see the fact that it went through an injury so traumatic and still kicking, made me respect that species so much more, dude. Like, infantrymen like me, we have this weird like obsession and fixation with shit that's like really tough and extremely hard to kill. That's why so many of us want to bang Rosie O'Donnell. Like, it's like, dude, the truth. I respect that one. She's a savage. Anyways, moving on.
And yes, Trimorphodon is definitely on the list. 1000%.
Like the rhinos, like the beards too. At some point I was talking about, like I wanted to write a book on beards because I was like, no one else is.
I don't know why you haven't yet. Like, you still can, man. You're still the Bears king of the South.
Honestly, if I'm gonna do a book at this point, it's gonna be rhinos, just because I feel like there's a little more to cover there. Like beards, it would be a pretty short book unless I did a really deep dive on locality, which mentally sounds exhausting. But then the rhino book thing is the same thing. It's like, I don't feel like I'm the guy to write the book when you got guys like Rob Stone and plenty others that have put in way more time and done way more with that species.
Sure. But I get that vibe. But at the same time, there's no reason why those guys can't add to it and help you, and you can't use some of their experience and their insight to add and augment your writing. So
I kind of side with Phil on that one, man. I think you have some knowledge that's unique to you that you can share. I'm a believer that like every man needs a good team behind them, and if you think yourself like, I'm gonna do this, and you got that team behind you, you're gonna be surprised at what you can achieve, dude.
I feel like the kid that just got their driver's license, but now they're like, I'm gonna write about how to replace an engine in these 5 different foreign cars.
Send it.
I don't. There's a qualification thing in
a
my
little
mind.
bit out of your element there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I kind of know how you feel, bro. I mean, like me and Carrot starting this podcast, dude. I look up to you and Phil like you look up to Rob Stone and them. bro, like the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you two is still kind of blowing my mind. Like, bro, this is awesome. So here I am. I'm making my goals happen. I'm talking to some of my idols, some of the people that I've looked up to for a while now. So if I can do this, if I'm doing what I'm doing, man, you can do it too. And,
well, then the next biggest hurdle is time.
that's true, and that's
It
something
takes a lot of time and effort to write a book, proofread it, edit it down. Yeah,
how do you eat an elephant?
one bite at a time.
There you go, Smitty.
The big machete.
Yep, big.
A big machete. It's another good answer.
See, the problem is I know me, and I know that I'll go hard on it for like a month, and then I won't touch it again for 9 months. And then I know me too well.
Go so hard that you burn out on it right before it's done.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
I think we're all guilty of it at least once in our lives. Me.
Running those dashes, and then you're like, okay, I'm tired, and so you like walk for a little bit, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna run again, I'm good, and then you run out of air again. It's like just back and forth.
Well, it's like me and cutting foam for cages, and like tonight we're gonna finish this show in. I mean, we're past the 2-hour mark now, but we're gonna finish this show shortly. It's gonna be 11:30 midnight by the time I pack everything up, do whatever, and I'm gonna walk in the snake room and go, man, I could cut some foam tonight, and I'm like, no, this is a horrible idea. It's late. You're tired. Don't be cutting foam with a knife and a drill and all this other stuff. Do it tomorrow when you're fresh and you're rejuvenated. And then tomorrow comes and I'm like, I'll do it next week, and then we'll do the show again. I'll be all jazzed about, decor and Bavaria, and it'll do the same thing in my brain. And all of a sudden now it's been a month and I still haven't cut the foam. So yeah. I get the feeling, man. I do.
Yeah, I do that same thing at night. Right after Orion gets to bed is when I'm like, oh wow, I can do stuff, and I'm like, I gotta be up at 5 tomorrow. Fuck.
Yeah. Now I know you mentioned that you're big into fishing. Do you fly fish or no?
No, not too much.
Okay. I got friends that would they would start a fly. They would be like watching shows or like watching YouTube videos. It's like 10 o'clock at night. They got to work the next day. And they're like, oh, you know what? I just learned this new knot. I'm going to try and do this knot on this brand new fly I haven't even started yet. So they start rapping, right? And they're rapping and they're rapping, and then they do the knot and they're like, nah, I can do that better. So they cut it and they do it and they cut it and they do it. And now it's 3 a.m.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And they got it. And they're like, man, that came out great. It's so pretty. I don't even want to use it. I'm just going to stick it in my hat. And it's like, you spent 5 hours, 4 hours like that. Like there's also that aspect. So I have to tell myself, don't cut the foam, because you're either going to be tired and do a shitty job cutting it, or you're going to wake up at 3 a.m. going, oh my God, I've been cutting foam for 4 hours. What the fuck? So
other side of that coin though, not all the time, some of my most productive moments have been in those bursts of energy.
I believe it.
Where you're like, you know what? I'll operate tomorrow on 3 hours of sleep. Fuck it.
Fucking Jack Oliver cut the foam, damn it.
Like if the motivation is there and I know it's going to be a repeat cycle of like, but I'm not motivated later when I have the time. Yeah. Now I'm motivated, but I don't have the time. You know what? Fuck it. I'm motivated. Let's do it. Yeah.
And meanwhile, Jack Oliver's saying, cut the foam tonight, Phil. That's the lesson. And then Jeff Fredericks in the chat, he's like, I'm painting while listening and watching right now. And I'm thinking, man, Jeff, I just got 4 new bottles of acrylic paint in different ochre colors. Maybe that's what we should do tonight. Yeah. Yeah, we're all fucked up. So, but on that note, gentlemen, we're at the 2-hour mark. Smitty, is there anything else you want to touch base on with these gentlemen before we cut them loose?
I don't think so.
I think we're good. Boys, you want to go round robin and kind of just let people know where they can get a hold of you and how they can find you and harass you and double click your pictures?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do mine real quick, and then I'll let Tristan do himself an outro. Connor and Tristan, we're with the Hobby Hangar. You can find us wherever you find your podcasts. Currently, we are still audio only, but do look forward to us being on YouTube shortly. Reach out on Instagram, Facebook. We are starting up a Discord so that we can have some community forums for chat. Anything that you want to bring on to the show or hobbies that you have, message us.
Yeah, hit me. I mean, yeah, if you want to get a hold of me directly, like let's say you listen to the show, let's say you like the show, and let's say you got a hobby that you want to talk about. Find me at SweetT480 on Instagram. This is going to be the fastest way for you to do it. SweetT480 on Instagram. Find me there. That's me. That's my profile. You hit me up there. I will make time to get back to you. I will make time to get back to you. And if you just want to talk about your hobby with me, that's fine. And if you want to get onto the show and talk about it, even better. You don't even have to use your name. You don't even have to, I mean, we're audio, so you don't even have to show your face. If you want to do it anonymously, that's totally cool. But if you have a hobby and you feel like it's not talked about enough, not recognized enough, and you want a stage to talk about it and get it out there, as long as you're not that weirdo farting in the Whole Foods at the cheese aisle and laughing at the snooty people, you hit me up. Let's talk about it. We got you. So, man, without further ado, I mean, that's all I got, man.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having us on the show.
Well, thank
Absolutely.
you guys.
It's been an absolute honor. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys.
You know, you can upload video to Spotify now.
Oh, very nice. I did not know that.
I don't even
That's pretty
bother
cool.
doing just the audio anymore. I just upload the videos and call it a day. So I don't even.
Right, just send the stream.
Yep.
Nice.
Not a bad idea. Might as well do it.
Just so everybody knows. It's a thing now.
The more you know.
That's right.
And
That's
no
right.
one's half the battle.
And the more you know about black box cages, the better.
Indeed.
Racks, cages, incredible quality, great
I
lead
have-
times.
I have a used one, and the thing's ancient, and honestly, it holds up well.
Hell yeah.
Glad
Amazing.
to hear it.
Use that code THN25 at checkout. Get a little discount. Then hop on over to fulviusapparel.com. Get yourself some shirts, hats, mugs. I got a couple bookmarks still floating around. So if you place an order currently, I'm just throwing those in orders just to get them gone because I decided I'm not going to sell them on the site anymore because they take too much time to make and I don't have the patience for it.
I feel special. I have one.
I'm sure I'll make some more at some point, but right now I'm just like,
It'll be collectible.
not doing it. We'll see. I don't know. Spring sale going on right now until the 9th. 15% off all orders automatically. No discount code or anything. If you're listening to this after the May 9th date, use the code THN at checkout, and that will also get you 15% off. But that is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. A lot of people take advantage of that code, which I appreciate because that means you're paying attention and you listen to us. So
That's good.
thank you. And then cold-blooded caffeine, best coffee around. Snakes and Stogies blend is where it's at. Use that code SMOKE. That gets you 10% off your order, I believe. And whether it's the Snakes and Stogies blend or the infinite other offerings that Trey and McKendrick have, you won't be disappointed. But we're a little biased. Get that. That Snakes and Stogies blend. This fly is being absolutely brutal and flying around my face constantly. We'll be back Thursday for THP, I believe. I need to talk to Jake. And then I think we'll do Arachnids after that.
Cool.
We'll see.
We should have a new episode of Venom Exchange Radio tonight at midnight if I can get my shit together. So, yes. It will be there for tomorrow.
Is that the one with Hannes?
It is the one with Hannes.
Yes.
Scorpions of Europe.
You kept talking about it coming out. Like
I know, and
I'll keep waiting.
Well, I made
to get the notification.
I made a mistake as I thought I set it up for like auto load at midnight on a Tuesday or whatever, and I forgot about it, and I was like, man, how come that thing didn't air? And I realized that it didn't go. So I'm gonna get all that done tonight, and yeah, be good for people's commute tomorrow.
Make my kid listen to it on the way to school in the morning.
Good.
There you go. Get your first listen, you know.
She'll have her German accent on in no time.
All right. We'll see everybody later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.